process of building a personal brand can be so overwhelming. Like, where do you even start? Do you just pick a niche, make an aesthetic mood board, and start posting? Because I've been there. I've watched videos and read articles, and honestly, no one was teaching how to actually start. So in this video, we're doing exactly that. We're going to go through a step-by-step process with real-life examples, proven frameworks from best-selling books written by experts, and honest clarity on what it really takes to build a personal brand that sells. Not in a scammy, forced way, but through authentic alignment and strategy that works. You might want to grab a paper and pen, because I'll be dropping a lot of frameworks and reflection questions you can apply as you go through this video. Hi, this is Elle, and welcome back to the Brand Vault, where we study personal branding, self-improvement, and women's empowerment. If you're here, chances are you want to build a brand that feels like you, but also sells. Whether that's your product, your content, your art, or just yourself as a creator. In this video, I'll walk you through the exact steps on how to do that. We'll start with your story, your who, and your why. Then we'll figure out your niche. We'll specify what you can offer, uncover what makes you remarkable, and finally, choose your platform. Let us dive in. Before anything else, you need to answer 2 questions. Who are you, and why do you do what you do? This is where everything begins. Whether you like her or not, no one can deny that the Wizard Liz's branding is genius. She built a global following, not by selling a product, but by embodying a story. Her entire brand revolves around self-improvement, confidence, and emotional healing. Her story is what established the stage for her brand. And even after her recent controversy, she stayed true to this identity. A woman who is strong enough to turn hurdles into wins and unforeseen predicaments into blessings is a woman with unshakable branding. Seth Godin, a marketing legend, once said, "People do not buy goods and services. They buy relations, stories, and magic." And that's exactly what personal branding is. It's the art of building trust through narrative and human connection. When people buy an album, they buy a relationship with an artist and their fandom. When they buy luxury items, they buy a story of belonging to the high class and the elite. When they buy a ticket to Disneyland, they buy a magical experience. This idea just emphasizes that your branding has to be human enough for people to trust it. And in personal branding, your main product is you. This is the main reason why you have to establish a solid who. Now, your story doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Know your story. Write down your past, who you are in the present, and who you want to become. Just think about it. How would people know you if you don't even know yourself? After you figure out who you really are, the next step to do is to ask yourself why you want to do what you want in life. Simon Sinek, in his book Start with Why, says that people don't just buy what you do, they buy why you do it. Most people start with what they do, but the most inspiring ones start with why. Why do you even want to build a personal brand in the first place? Is it for fame and money, or do you just want to share your knowledge with the world and help other people? Answer this question, as it is the foundation of where your brand is headed. From here on, you have a direction that you should never stray away from. Your who and why are your main guiding principles that will help you complete the next steps towards a solid personal brand. Find your niche. Now that you know your who and why, let's figure out what you can bring to the world. Grab your notebook because we're going to list 3 things: your strengths, your interests, and what a specific group of people needs. Just by watching one video from the Wizard Liz, you'll immediately pinpoint these 3 elements. Her strengths are her speaking prowess, her persuasion, and her ability to express strong ideas without coming off as forceful. Her interests lie in the concept of self-improvement, leaning on spiritual, mental, and financial growth. And finally, the specific group she caters to are women who want to embody her brand. How can you incorporate this formula for yourself? Let's start with your strengths. As humans, we're often told to find our weaknesses and try to improve them to fit the system. But this proves to be counterintuitive. The deficit model has long dominated our society, and it can be observed even in our education system. Students are believed to be better if they learn to target their weaknesses instead of just focusing on their strengths. In turn, Their real talent gets subdued due to lack of improvement, which can be counterproductive. On the other hand, Wu Wei is a Taoist philosophy that talks about following the path of least resistance. Water flows where nature intends it. Hence, we must do the same. This philosophy illustrates a metaphor of maximum impact through minimal effort. Why must we waste time improving our weakness when we can double down on our strength and get better results with less effort? That being said, how exactly do you find your strengths? This is where your unfair advantage in life comes in. Using the Miles framework from The Unfair Advantage by Ash Ali and Hassan Kuba, you can find your strengths that you can use towards the path of least resistance. Ali and Kuba argue that success isn't just about hard work, it's about identifying and using your unique edge. Miles stands for M. Money, your financial resources or access to capital. I. Intelligence, your knowledge, expertise, or unique perspective. L. Location and luck, where you are and the opportunities that come from it. E. Education and expertise, your skills, credentials, and experiences. S. Status, your network, reputation, or influence. You don't need all 5 factors to find your strength. You can capitalize on having an unfair advantage, even in just one category. Always remember, though, that your strength list doesn't have to be extra specific or refined. Just list down every strength you have in every field you know. As the next steps follow, you'll be able to break them all down into a more coherent list. Next to focus on are your interests. People often say, find your passion. But not everyone has that fire that keeps them motivated to take on another day. Some don't even know what job they want to have or are too easily swayed by different callings in life. This is where interests come in. Write down everything you enjoy, even if it's random. Even just binge watching movies will do. In this day and age, anything can be turned into an output. So just list every single interest you have. After you finish your strengths and interest list, now you can compare them both to look for overlaps. Any words from both lists that had correlation with each other shall remain, and words without connections shall be removed. From the list of correlated words, you can choose one that you think is best to build your personal brand on. You can choose based on your greatest strengths or your best interest. Either way, just choose the one you know you can stick with for the longest time possible. Let's say, for example, you chose thrifting and dressing up as your best combination. After deciding, you can now choose your audience and a problem to be solved. Usually, you'll be advised to provide what the world needs, but in reality, world problems are too broad and vague to deal with. A trap that most branding startups fall into is the one to cater to as many people as possible, to have more audience, clicks, views, or followers. That narrative is false. You can't be everything, everywhere, all at once. Since having a personal brand means having a distinguishable identity, ask yourself these questions when finding the right audience with the right problem. Does this group share your interests? Do they have a problem you can help solve with your strength? And is the audience large enough to grow your brand with? Going back to the example, let's say your strength is thrifting and your interest is dressing up. Group with the same interests. Fashion enthusiasts, the problem you can solve. Helping aspiring fashionistas look good on a budget. Is the audience large enough to grow your brand with? In this case, yes, that's your niche foundation right there. Now that all your 3 categories align in one cohesive formula, you can finally build your personal brand equation. Align strengths plus interests, plus that solve your audience's problem equals your brand's product or service. Whether that's through videos, art, writing, or coaching, that's your offering. Tip: remember what Napoleon Hill said in Think and Grow Rich? Money is a byproduct, not the ultimate goal. His principle of the law of increasing returns also says, render more service than that for which you are paid, and eventually you will be paid more for less service. So focus on providing real value. The money will follow. What you can offer, now that you've found your niche, you have to turn it into value. There are 2 main types of value you can bring to people: education or entertainment. In the Wizard Liz's case, she's more of an educator, so her videos lean into teaching. This doesn't mean she's not entertaining. It just means her videos will not have the same significance if the educational value is removed. So how will you choose yours? If you're good at explaining, teaching, or simplifying, educate. If you're charismatic, funny, or emotionally engaging, entertain. Pick one as your main lane and build your brand around it. To give an example, let's use our equation align strengths plus interests plus that solve your audience's problem equals your brand's product or service. Your strength is being good with thrifting. Your interest is dressing up, and the problem is to help aspiring fashionistas look good on a budget. Now we have to know what product or service you can provide based on either entertainment or educational value. For entertainment, you can do fashion thrifting haul vlogs. For education, you can write a blog about fashion thrift shops. As you can see, entertainment and education can have similarities and meeting points. The only important thing to do is to focus on the better type of value that suits you. Find what makes you remarkable, the 4 V's. Now that you've found your niche and the value you offer, it's time to make your brand stand out. You already have your sketch. It's time to paint life into it. Seth Godin wrote Purple Cow, one of the best books on this topic. You will never stop your car to take a picture of an ordinary cow, but you'd definitely do it if it were purple, he says in his book. In today's saturated market, being good isn't enough. You must be remarkable. My biggest takeaway from this book is innovation is marketing. Build something so good, it markets itself. When the Wizard Liz dropped her videos, she didn't even need to run ads. People all over the world discovered her content because of her intriguing thumbnails and titles, her unique voice and way of speaking, how good her advice is, and how inspirational she is. You can do this too. Make your product so exceptional that it's hard to ignore. To do that, focus on the 4 V's of branding value. What you believe in, what you stand for, your purpose. This was already built in the first few steps. Visual, the aesthetic that reflects your value. Your colors, fonts, and overall look. Maybe it's your signature hair, your background setup, or your outfit style. Visuals communicate before words do. Voice, the way you sound and write. Your tone, pacing, sentence flow, and emotion. Do you speak softly and thoughtfully, or boldly and energetically? Own your voice. It's part of your identity. Vibe, the overall energy people feel when they experience your brand. If someone stumbled upon your profile, if they consumed your content, how would they feel? Calm, inspired, empowered. That's your vibe. And if people can describe it clearly, you're doing a good job. These 4 evolve over time. And that's normal. As you grow, your brand grows too. Just stay true to yourself and aim to embody your highest version every step of the way. Choose your platform. Now that you've built your personal brand, let's talk about where to show it. People usually don't think about this, as they assume a good brand will be recognized no matter where it's placed. That is wrong. Just imagine putting up a cheap burger stall along a street of high-end restaurants. The burger may be the best tasting in the entire town, but if presented to the wrong market, it will still struggle to sell. Now that you know your specific audience, you should know where to find them to position yourself in the best location possible. That being said, you don't need to be on every platform. That's also one of the biggest mistakes people make, thinking that more platforms equates to wider reach. But that's not how sustainable branding works. If you're just starting out, choose 1 or 2 platforms that your selected audience uses most. This helps you understand the algorithm and your audience's behavior easier. You can also use the other strengths you listed earlier to choose a platform. For example, if you love talking, go for YouTube. If you're more visual, choose Instagram or Pinterest. If you thrive on fast content, use TikTok. Tip, always remember, it's all about quality over quantity, even in where you show up. After you've established a solid ground on these platforms, then you can expand on others. So these are the core steps for building your personal brand, from knowing your story to identifying what you can offer, finding your audience and niche, standing out with your 4 V's, and finally choosing your platform. But always remember that a personal brand is never static. It evolves with you. You'll rebrand, refine, and realign many times, and that's growth. Stop wasting your potential. Use your strengths, instead of wallowing in your weaknesses. And most importantly, start now. Keep aiming to become your highest self because that version of you will always attract what's meant to be. Thank you so much for watching. If this video helped you in any way, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more lessons on building a brand that feels uniquely you.